Okay, I'm so excited today. Email Moats and Goats, the newsletter. You get to see me live, but more important, you get to see one of my previous business partners on many projects. One of the best achiever types of people that I've ever met. When I got introduced to him, he was introduced as the kindest person ever, and that is no lie, no joke. He also, because of his achievement strengths and his ability to achieve just top-notch results with anything that he does, his copywriting background, marketing background, email background. I've actually been telling you his story a little bit. He is the former CEO of the info product business that we've been talking about. He decided to spin off into other info products and other businesses, but he's got some exciting updates. I was able to interrupt his work mode, his, hey, get into the weeds. He literally sent me a response in my request to interview him that said, hey man, I'm super busy just writing out this massive back-end sequence right now. So we get him just for a few minutes today. I'm so happy to introduce you to one of my best friends, one of the OG guys in the internet marketing space, in my opinion, that's done stuff behind the scenes as a business owner for many, many years. This is Mike Giannulis. Thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it.
James, thank you. As always, you oversell me. So now I got to really step it up. But no, thank you, man. I'm so glad to be here. It's cool to be part of the Moats and Goats. I'm kind of pumped by that. So
yeah, it's a fun name.
Yeah, and I'll share whatever I can. About
so nice.
anything you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was such an incredible experience to help build that dropship education system with you, and then we went on to that one was your baby. And then, of course, we went on to partner on a couple of other info products, and that was such a blast. I love your penchant for email, your focus. You are truly the key to those businesses. I feel like I was just a support guy. So I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit overselling, but really not. You're just a freaking animal in the space, and I love working with you. Everything that we've done together has just been incredible. I made a promise, though, to everybody watching today and all of the subscribers to Email Moats and Goats that we'll talk about your goat story. It always cracks me up. You've shared so many stories with me at lunches, but also I've heard the story in other podcasts. But if there's anything about the goat history that you have, if there's anything that you can sort of like loosely tie in a very maybe arm's length way, hey, this really applied to email and you apply this to some of the techniques that you have now in copywriting or business, that would be phenomenal. But yeah, man, can you give us a little bit of background on the goat story, or maybe a goat story that stands out from your history? It was hundreds of goats, if not thousands, right?
Yeah, at our peak. So first, let me say this: I'm not a farmer, or technically a rancher, because I found that out. Ranchers are with animals, farmers are with crops. So, in case, I'm sure James, you know that.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that part, but. So when I was in my late teens, early 20s, a friend of mine, actually, we teamed up and we started a dairy goat farm. And so we purchased 500 dairy goats at once, and they all were pregnant. And they all showed up at the same time, and all their kids were due the same month. So they weren't even like staggered out or anything. So for like a month and a half of my life, all I did was just pull baby kids out of these goats. And it was their first time too. So they didn't know what they were doing. So the moms were really stupid. Like the kid would pop out and the mom would see it, start stomping on it. Like they
man, that's brutal.
Goats are not the brightest animals, especially their first time they have kids. They don't know what's going on. So at our peak, we had over 1,000 between the moms and all the kids, and we had to actually heat treat the milk. So we had to milk by hand twice per day, heat treat the milk, and then bottle feed every single kid. By the time we finished the first round, it was time to start round 2. So the lesson there, I guess, if you think about it, comparing it to email, you're basically never done. There's a new day every day. And you have to come up with your new campaign, your new thing, and that's kind of what it was like. It was like this never-ending milking, I guess in a way, I guess you're gonna milk your emails too, right? You gotta milk out whatever you're gonna get from them. But that was something that I still think about to this day. As like, one, I'm like, how to even do, I guess that's the key of being 20. You know what I mean? You just go do it. I think now I don't think I could probably do that again, but I mean, there'd be days where I would like wake up laying in like a field. So I just passed out. I just sat down and just passed out, you know, like it was insane. But yeah, at the end of the day too, I do think the biggest thing, my biggest takeaway from all of that was basically like, one, goats are notoriously difficult. That's like more of a personal thing, but I think from a business standpoint, we did not have a clear strategy on what we were going to do. Like, we had this vague idea that we're going to like milk the goats, we're going to sell it, but we never quite dialed that in. So when the time came, when we tried to sell, we didn't really get to where we were supposed to get. So anyway, I'll just say the biggest thing of all, know your audience, know your strategy, know who you're going to sell to and why you're selling, and then stick to that thing. Just do that thing again and again. And I think my third point is, if you can avoid it, stay out of the goat industry. I just think it's better left for somebody else.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy is there's all the rage about goat milk products these days. So I think you were just like classic Mike fashion, way ahead of your time,
Yeah.
right? You're always ahead of the cycle.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've loved about you, man, and loved, you know, just standing shoulder to shoulder with you on some of the adventures that you've taken me on. But yeah, that's awesome. Great story. I love that story. I know you have like a million other stories inside of that,
Yeah.
but that's a perfect high level. So you went from goats. You've had a storied marketing career that you know, I don't think a lot of people know about, but besides, I mean, you know, a little glimpse of it in this series, the $40 million brand built by email. But with given those other info products and other businesses that you have, what are you up to now? What are you most excited about now?
Yeah, so now I'm involved in like 3 or 4 different things, because I like to, you know, I like to kind of change it up.
Classic
But
Mike.
I've got, I'm launching a supplement brand here this next week. So I've been kind of getting that all dialed in. We have a keto company that teaches like the keto diet, and we're launching an entire sales team back end for that. And we're making it so that potentially other people that sell front end keto products could use us to be their phone team to sell personalized coaching and personal training to that audience. So I'm really pumped up by that one. And then in my my spare time, I have a copywriting agency where we place writers that I train into different companies. So that's copymachines.io is the site for that one.
I love the name.
I'll plug that one.
Copy machines. Yeah, man, totally do it. You're a goat, but not the stubborn kind or the difficult to work with kind at all. So goat in this instance, just to clarify, mid show here or mid goat interview here, goats for us means greatest of all time. Mike truly is one of those. He rarely kind of pops out to teach these principles that he's teaching here. So it really is truly an honor and a privilege to be learning from him today. But yeah, Mike, Copy Machines, again, just going to the copywriting side. I think that's the most brilliant business name I've ever heard. It's a throwback to, you know, a bygone era, but it's so modern at the same time, and I just love it. Copy Machines, and that website again was copymachines.io. That is an awesome one. I love what you're doing there. So that's great. Looking back at the history that you've done, I mean, you built that affiliate campaign. I mean, affiliate marketing is in your blood. We talked a little bit about how that affiliate side of email and the monetization edition of the newsletter for that $40 million brand, how you kind of added just almost pure profit, 50, 60K per month, and really eked out $1 per email for us all the time. But I have a feeling that that's not your most successful email marketing campaign that you've ever built. Do you recall what's the highlight of your career so far as email marketing campaigns go? And if you're allowed to talk about it, because I know some things are under NDA and whatnot, but what is that campaign, like the hottest campaign that you ever created? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Any metrics you can share? Any tips or secrets from that?
Yeah, I'll say what I would say one of them that definitely, and I have two that I'll talk about. One that's just more special to me. I'll
I
start
love
there.
it.
It was my first kind of really hit. This was probably back in like, I don't know at this point, 2009, 10. And I loved it because it went against everything that I was taught, right? Because when you get into the space, you're always taught, don't do this, don't do that. This is a bad day to mail. Don't ever email this time or that time. So I had this campaign that basically we ran where we were opening up like a coaching program for one of my partners back then. And the subject line that I came up with was it happened at TGI Fridays, right? Which is like a weird subject line. It doesn't make any sense, but it did happen there. So it was like we had this idea to pitch this kind of program. So in the email, I tell the story. We're sitting around eating like, mozzarella sticks, and this, thing pops up, and that's why I thought of you. That's why I'm emailing you right now. And so anyway, the email kind of ends with, your next step is to click here, sign up, join us, right? And basically, long story short, I sent that email out like on a Friday at 8 or 9 p.m. with a follow-up Saturday and a follow-up Sunday. And literally the first time we ran that thing, we probably put in 300 or 400 people into like $1,000 program. And I was just like,
Wow.
it was crazy. Yeah.
That's incredible.
But now I want to tell you the real secret though, the real secret sauce. After the next quarter came around, we were like, we need something else like that one again. We have to do that again. We have all these brand new people. So I was like, well, let's just run the same one again. So I just copy pasted the same sequence, same time, Friday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, repeat. Not quite as high, but it was like, still a couple 100,000. Just boom, boom, boom.
That's incredible.
And that sequence, and then we went on to run that sequence for 2 years. It became like an automated broadcast that we ran every quarter, and it just sucked up cash every time. And it's funny because Friday night you would think is the worst time possible to email. Saturday's got to be bad. Sundays aren't that good. Yet that campaign, I think because it had the Friday tie-in, so it felt so real because it was sent as we thought about it. It was we're at the place and we're gonna do it right then and there. So I think whenever you can bring something real life to your email and give it that feeling of like, hey, I just thought of this, it just popped up. Because I think that so many times now, especially, email has gotten to be such a formula, such a repeat everything, and it's all you can't really tell who wrote what, right? So that kind of helped to give it some personality. And then secondly, and I'm sorry, James, because I know this is supposed to be that long, but
no, this is amazing. And I can't believe out of the hundreds of hours that we've, spent together, years that we spent together, that's the first time I've heard that story.
Yeah,
And
I just popped in my head.
I love the personalization, and then the relevancy to like that day or current events. So powerful. I think you're absolutely right that so many emails are just too templated now. But that kind of goes back to just really developing that relationship. And that's one way to do it, is tie things into current events with a positive twist, right?
Yeah.
So brilliant. It could even be like a local current event, like eating at TGI Fridays. I mean, mind blown. Love it, man. Yeah, let's keep going. You're dropping gems here that just left and right. So take as long as you want, man.
The second one, probably the one that made the company over 1 million in commissions in 1 year. And it was, I can't go into great detail because I am under NDA on it, but it was a crypto kind of investment offer back in the day. It was like 2017, 2018. It was when crypto had its kind of first rise, when everyone, so that particular offer, like I remember sending out the email and going to check the stats and just hitting refresh and just being like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It was like, I want to say the first send did like $6,000, like $6,028 or something like that. It was just crazy. And that just kept it up. It just kept going like that. And the funny thing is that email that I did, it was for an affiliate offer, but that company that owned the offer contacted me and they're like, hey, could we use this email? Because it's doing so well. So I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Nowadays, I'd have been like, yeah, pay me, but I didn't really think about it, I'm just like, sure. So, but I think the key with that one too was, and this is especially big in the affiliate space, so many people are just lazy. They just copy paste the same thing, send it out. One, that's getting stopped now. So many of the email platforms now look and they almost check you against like a scraper to see if what you're sending out is unique. And so I kind of rewrote my own. And what I always do, and this is a good tip for anyone, if you're going to promote someone else's offer or even your own offer, read or watch the first like 10 minutes of your script and look for the things that are the most curiosity driven, whether it's a weird question or a paradoxical statement, whatever it is, look for that piece and you can make your email around that, because curiosity drives clicks. It doesn't always drive sales, but it will drive people there. If the piece then picks up and takes them on, that's one of the best ways to get people to go to whatever the next step is. And one more piece to that as well is don't oversell in the email. That's a lot of people do that too. They'll write this big, long, huge email and like people don't really care that much. Your job in the email is to sell one thing, the click. That's it. You have to sell anything else but the click. So
100% agree, man. Love it. So that's brilliant. $1 million campaign within a year, just with sending the same thing to an email list that was rotating in, refreshing that email list month after month. So absolutely brilliant, man. Thank you so much for sharing. Love those tips. What do you think, considering that was several years ago, and then of course you got in the industry well over a decade ago, similar to me, of course, mid 2000s kind of picked it up and just started running with it, but you've done so many more amazing things. What do you think is in store, at least related to email and SMS coming up in 2023 and beyond? Do you see anything unique happening there? Do you see it getting stronger, weaker? I mean, what's your take?
Yeah, so right now I'm sort of rekindling a lot more of my higher volume stuff. So I'm beginning to see a lot more trends now. I'm definitely seeing that it's going to get a lot more technical. I see that coming up because I'm already seeing, I just launched a texting campaign, and this is something that we didn't really deal with before, but now it's almost like texting is becoming like email, where you have to watch out for spam and warm people up and get verified. So a big trend, I think, is going to be, you can't just flip on a campaign anymore and just blast out to 10,000 people from that side. So I think on the SMS side, you're going to have to get better at doing things above board, getting like verified, finding companies that will get you verified with Verizon and all of the different senders, and work on ways to, and this is really hard, but you've got to come across where you relate to, where they know who you are, but you did do it in 160 characters, which is a challenge. Or I think the key is you're gonna have to probably, the first time you make contact, you probably have to pay extra and make it a longer text message and make it more personalized, so they know who you are, how you know them, why you're texting them, and then test it too. And it'll be the point where you're going to have like different phones and see how they come in, right? I think that's where that's going to go. On the email side, I think that it's kind of the same thing. It's going to continue to get tougher just to kind of broadcast out. I think that more personalized emails will be a big thing. I think that more people should spend time cleaning up too, getting rid of people. Like this is a thing that I still struggle with, because I'm like, it's hard for me to be like, because we all want to brag about it. I have 100,000 people on my, database. But at the end of the day, if they're just there, not at opening, one, you're paying for them when they shouldn't be there. And then two, they're going to drag down all your scores and you won't be able to do good. So I think you've got to really start focusing on automation to remove people and to also move people where you want them. So if they clicked on this particular topic, you'll have those people. You can separate openers, clickers, all that stuff, which we used to do that, right? Back, that was kind of like the high volume guys, that was all that they would do. But I think now that strategy is gonna have to come down to just anybody,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's kind of where I see it.
Thank you. Yeah, brilliant insights. I feel the same way. Absolutely. And what's new to me is maybe the technical aspect. I hadn't really thought of that. Even though I tend to think technically a lot on the SMS side. I think you're absolutely right, because in the latest iPhone update, I've seen in a few spam messages I've received just today alone, after updating my phone yesterday finally to the latest OS, there's a report junk in there, a button to report junk inside of Apple messages, text messages. And so they are building that database, and there will be reports and spam reports and more on the SMS side coming really, really soon. So spot on, man. Absolute brilliance. As always, really, really grateful for everything that you share, Mike. You're awesome. I've got 2 more questions here, if you don't mind. What did you want to be when you grew up? Like maybe when you were 10 to 15 years old, and how happy are you that you found this current path instead?
Okay, well, start off by saying this. I was a really weird kid. Okay.
Okay, I can't wait to
Very,
hear what you wanted
very
to be.
weird. So I kind of had 2 different things I wanted to be. It's really weird. But one of them, I actually wanted to be a pastor. I thought I would be like a church pastor guy. And
Oh,
then
you would have been amazing.
and then
Hooking
secondly,
everybody in.
yeah. And then secondly, I also really oddly wanted to be a like a real estate investor, or like, honestly, even a business person. Very vague back then, but I was into like that kind of stuff. So in that way, I did get to fulfill one dream, which was sort of like creating businesses. That was always a thing that I was way into. Like even when I was like 15 or 16, I found my stepdad at the time brought home like Tom Hopkins, who was like a sales trainer, and they were like cassette tapes, because I'm that old now. And like I brought them in my car, and I would drive around and play these cassette tapes. And all my friends were like 15, 16, and they'd be like, turn this off, it's so boring. But to me, it was like really fun. I learned all this stuff. So I was kind of always into that kind of stuff. I think the pastor side of me was, I grew up around that kind of stuff. But as I got older, I started to realize, like, one, I don't know if I truly had like a call to do that. And then 2, I was like, man, everyone I know that does that is like broke, like really broke, So I was like, maybe I'm more called to like do well and then help other people that are more called to that. So that's kind of, but yeah. So anyway, but I love what I do now. I can't really fathom doing anything else. I've not had like a job in 16 years, so I don't know what I would do, like I don't know how I don't think I could go back now and like find a job or do that kind of stuff.
Well, you built your own career, you built your own job, and like you said, you satisfied the businessman side, the sales side. In a way, if you're moving people to get things that are good for them, which I know you do, and you're passionate about that, that's kind of pastoral in a way, right? I mean, is that even a word, pastoral?
Pastoral, that's the word,
yeah, Pastor Mike, maybe start signing your email that way. or would that be sacrilegious? Maybe I shouldn't go down that road.
Yeah.
Bad advice from me. Don't do that. So awesome. Thank you so much for all of the gems and the knowledge that you've shared today, Mike. So grateful to have you be the first GOAT on my newsletter, and really, really grateful for you as a friend. It's Thanksgiving week while we're recording this in 2022, and just feeling a deep sense of gratitude for having known you so far, and to have met you and to have you in my life, Mike. Thank you so much for everything you do for me and for everybody that you share knowledge with, and that you sell products for, and beyond.
Well, James, I would say same to you, man. I mean, I don't think I could have gotten to where I'm at without you, and the things that you helped me with, and the things that you helped us to discover and fix and solve. And so, I'm just applying a lot of what you showed me, and just keep going. That's all.
You're too kind, man. I love you, man. Thank you so much. Last question to wrap us up. Do you have any other top of mind email marketing tips or tests that we should consider trying? I know you covered a lot in the call, but we could throw back to something earlier in the Zoom call here, or if you have anything else top of mind.
Yeah, I will say I'll go back to the curiosity thing, because I think that's a big key. Well, I guess, yeah. So just make sure your subject line is so important. So I can't really stress that enough. So if you're not here's one small thing: if you're not doing this, and you have a sizable database, just resending to the non-openers with a different subject line is just a huge thing. It works. It's so much found cash. I mean, people don't check email like probably we do. Like, we're in our inbox all day refreshing it, even though we shouldn't be, just constantly. Most people, it's like they check it when they wake up, maybe before bed. It's not like their end all be all day long. So it's okay to send more than one email. It's okay to send it twice. They're not going to get that upset. If you do it constantly, that might not be good. But don't be afraid to oversend somewhat, and don't be afraid to resend things that don't get seen. If you just added that right now, you'll make way more sales, because you're just giving opportunity for their eyeballs to see you. That's it.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for rounding us out so strong, Mike, the OG GOAT in my book. Absolutely love chatting with you. Thank you so much, Mike. Everybody who's watching this, please go check out copymachines.io. He did plug that. He's also got some other products out there. But Mike, thanks again for being here, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, James.